just giving an example about attachment parenting and people who follow this wonderful way of raising children, and how automatically nature gives your child what your child needs when you follow the child's, what the child needs.
Right.
Because DHA is very important for the brain, and half of the cellular brain tissues are made up of this essential fatty acid DHA. And so when a woman decides not to breastfeed her child, she does not know what nutrients the child is not getting, because everything is available to the baby in the mother's milk.
Yeah.
But formulas, even the first formulas, thousands of babies died of convulsions with the first formulas. And they found out afterwards that vitamin B6 was missing from the formulas. So what did they do? Instead of telling women to breastfeed their children, because they wanted to continue with the formulas, they just added B6 to the formulas. And so we're not helping our children by doing that. Mother's milk is what is meant for the human baby. That's why mothers have breasts, to nurse their babies. And so doctors who recommend formulas and tell the mothers not to waste their time breastfeeding, they are definitely hurting their children. There's some research being done on the autism spectrum, and children who have attention deficit disorder all the way to severely functioning autistic symptoms. Were these children breastfed? What about skin to skin? These children need skin to skin. They need the breast milk for the protein, the fats, and all the different nutrients that we can never, ever duplicate.
Right.
We cannot copy what nature gave us. There's always going to be a vitamin, a mineral, some nutrient that is missing if we try to do it a different way. So that's one part of attachment parenting.
Right. Okay. And how long do you recommend, we're talking about breastfeeding, how long do you recommend to breastfeed for? And also when to start introducing solid foods?
Well, it's as far as the long-term breastfeeding and introducing foods, it's going to be very individual, depending on the child. Both of my children were different as far as when they stopped nursing and when they started eating solids. As far as the breastfeeding, I feel that we need to follow the child's weaning clues. And if we're following our child, we're going to be doing the best for that child, because early weaning can cause the child to become very insecure if the child's needs were not met. So I definitely recommend at least 2 years. And many children need to go beyond that. And looking at your child and what your child's needs are. And you will know if your child still wants to nurse, follow your child's cues. As far as the eating of solid foods, many people start feeding their kids at 4 or 5 months old, and their digestive systems are not ready for food yet. Just because a child is exploring objects by putting food in the mouth does not necessarily mean that the child is ready for solid food. It's just curiosity and exploration. And the child is going to be curious about food also because the child sees you eating food. And my friend Victoria Butanko has even stated in her food imprinting article that food has a very strong impact on the child's brain and what the child remembers, especially during 9 to 18 months of age. Whereas parents don't think that what they're eating is going to affect the child. Your example during that period is very powerful. So I would recommend eating as healthfully as possible during that time, that early time, that first year to second year of life. And there are some children, who are ready to eat at the end of the first year, and some are not ready to eat until well into the second year, even closer to age 2. And the breast milk has all of the necessary nutrients, the fat, the proteins, the vitamins, and the minerals that the baby needs. And so the mother should not worry that her baby is not getting enough.
What if the mother is having trouble with breastfeeding and she's not able to breastfeed? Well,
Okay. I always recommend getting a good lactation consultant. Most often, that can rectify any situation. There are some excellent lactation consultants. And La Leche League, which is a very well-known organization that has lactation consultants, they are worldwide. So any place that a woman lives, she should be able to get a lactation consultant through La Leche League, and to come and see her and to help her with any problem that she may have so that she can breastfeed. I have met very few people who cannot be helped to breastfeed. If this is a true situation where she absolutely cannot breastfeed, then I recommend getting a wet nurse or milk donations through a local organization. And there are even sites online with women donating breast milk. I would recommend that as a priority to get mother's milk, human mother's milk. And of course, if that doesn't work, then the next best would be the goat milk, which is a smaller animal. But I first would recommend human milk because a goat is not a human. And it would not be the same. The protein is much higher. You would definitely want to search for a human mother and to get the human mother's milk. And there are some women who, if they're being paid for their milk, they will even be willing to eat healthier. So,
yeah.
so I would go with that first.
Yeah. It's a lot of the programming where people think that to drink the milk from another human is strange and disgusting, but to drink the milk from a cow or a goat is normal. That's what a lot of the programming kind of sees, where it's just it's kind of bizarre, isn't it? And
it doesn't make any sense. And I think people really need to start looking out to nature more. And that was one thing that I did with my kids. We spent a lot of time in nature and we watched how animals lived. And there's no other animal out there that nurses from a different species. There's no reason why we should rationalize that the humans should be nursing from another species. It just really, sense-wise, doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And that we're going to be getting everything that we need from our own mother. And so that's what I recommend. I really don't recommend anything else.